Welcome to Winning the Battle. This is episode 3, and I'm Coach LJ with CrossFit 1776. We have another guest this week. This is Desi. Desi, Hi. Desi is the owner of New Wave Nutrition in Montgomery, and she's here today with us to talk about motivation. Do you want to tell everybody a little bit more about your job?
Yes. So I'm actually a wellness coach. So I do everything that is on regards of your nutrition. I help you lose weight, gain healthy muscle. I work with different kind of goals in terms of just living a healthy lifestyle, having a little bit more energy. So it's everything with nutrition. Now I do different types of meal plans, and I do promote Herbalife. That's the actual brand that I represent. So my meal plans are going to be based on different type of products that the company has, like teas, meal replacement shakes, different type of proteins that you would drink after a workout, and all that kind of good stuff. So I do all the, 70-80% of the goals, which is the nutrition and supplements. So that's what I do. In the Nutrition Club store, we sell like smoothies, we have our teas, and then when people have like very specific goals, then I help them out privately.
And Desi has a wonderful team that she's built up, and she just does an amazing job at all of that. So I asked her to come on to talk about motivation because, as you heard, she is a wellness coach and focuses a lot on nutrition. And so she has to motivate people for their nutrition, just like I have to motivate people in the gym and the fitness world. So looking at the board, we kind of put some questions up, and we kind of put it out there for our members and people to give feedback on. And so the things that you see there are things we're going to discuss, and that is feedback that they gave us. The first one is, what motivates you? So Desi, what do you think motivates you personally, because you work out daily just about also, and then what do you do to help motivate people?
So personally, when I decided to start working on my goals, what motivated me at that point was just myself. I wanted to improve myself. I grew up as an athlete, and then somehow along the journey, I just kind of forgot about myself. So, you get busy with life, work, hustle, being a wife, being an employee. So you just have so many roles that I forgot about who I was, and it's just got like a hot mess. So at the beginning, what motivated me was just me, trying to get healthy, trying to find myself, become the best version of myself, gain energy. So it's all about me and my physical goals. Then once I achieved the goals, it was more, I guess, like my family, just trying to be healthy for them so I can stick around as much as I could. So like, I feel like my family plays like a very important role in my life. And believe it or not, I don't know if it happens to you, right now, it's actually my team that motivates me. I see all my girls awesome. Like getting results, they looking good, all these moms looking amazing. I'm not a mom yet. And I'm like, girl, you're doing amazing. I want to look like you. So my team gets me going. They keep me going. Like every time I Slack, I see them and they post, I don't know, a picture in bikini or a picture in a dress. And I'm like, wow, she's doing good. If she can do it, I can do it.
Right.
So, I mean, my team plays a huge part in terms of motivation for myself. Like, I want to lead by example. They're doing amazing. I want to do amazing. So I don't know. I feel like if they're doing it, why not? Like, I'm coaching them. So as a leader, I like to kind of, I guess lead by example. I always say that because it's true. Now for them, I've noticed that a lot of the time for my team, what motivates them is always like the weight, their health, and then it becomes different things. Like when they're mom, they just want to be healthy for their kids and be active for their kids and things like that. So I think family and like also the physical look is normally what I see the most in my clients.
Yeah, and I think you hit on most everything that's on the board, spouse, children, family. Have you noticed in your family that you were talking about being a role model for your team, but you're an inspiration and a role model for your family as well?
I've noticed, when I started just taking care of myself, I got like a whole bunch of a lot of questions. Like my family, like my dad, my stepmom, my grandma, all of them were like, what is it that you're doing? Like, if you do it, we want to join. So little by little, like my husband now, like he's always eating healthy. He's like, girl, you look good. I need to look good. So like even my husband now, he drinks a shake and he runs around town. So I think it does get like a little contagious in a good way.
Yeah, that's good. And then you talked about physical appearance, and before we started the show, we were actually talking about how a lot of people start off with physical appearance. They want to lose weight or just tone up, just look better in general. And then, as Desi said, that motivation changes as some may become, you know, a parent or things like that, or just, you know, somebody in their family might become ill, and then they want to be that role model for them and help them become healthier so that they can overcome the illness or just be the best version of themselves with the help that they have at that time. So health is obviously something. One thing I deal with a lot with some of my ladies and even guys in the gym is just for movement. What motivates them is they're getting older and they just want to be able to still move. And so when we think of healthy young people, people in their, you know, mid 30s, 40s, that we think of just our general checkup and being healthy, our blood pressure. But when, you know, say 50 and older, they think of being healthy, they're thinking of bone density. You know, those are things that we don't have to do yet, but that's something big for a lot of your older community is when they go to the doctor and they have that bone density test, they don't like to hear bad news. So they come in and they actually just do lightweight dumbbell training with us and things like that so that their bone density gets to the result it needs to be.
Interesting, yes.
And that movement too, like one of our clients said, she said the biggest thing for me when I first started was not holding on to the bed to put on my pants anymore. So it was, yeah, just little things like that that we take for granted right now. But, you know, as we get older, our body changes. And I definitely have noticed that. I don't know if you have yet, but
I mean, yeah.
But it does happen, and so you have to adjust. And so just like you were saying, your motivation changes. So not only by life experience and things that are happening in life, but with your age as well. And I think one thing that's on the board that we didn't mention is goals. Sometimes your goals change.
That's true. I think we're in April, right? And now we're gonna be in April. I know a lot of people do start the year with the whole mentality of like, you know, new year, new me, and having all these different goals. And I feel like as a coach, I don't know if you do this, but I try to sit down with them and explain to them how, okay, so let's break it down. There's 12 months. Okay, what's gonna happen in January? How can we get to this in February? So I try to break it down that way they can see how, you know, little by little we'll get there as long as you don't give up. But I do understand, like, that whole goal thing brings me back to like the whole like how everyone is so motivated at the beginning of the year, and then by the middle of the year is like they're not as much. So I feel like that tends to happen. However, if we break down those goals little by little, they can see that bigger picture. They can understand how, you know, what are we accomplishing this year, or you know, who do you want to become in 2020 as a whole.
And speaking of that, you know, and we talked about what's going on in the world today on our last episode as well with COVID-19. And with that being said, and goals changing, I've already seen memes that say, okay, forget it. You know, this is going on with Reese's Cups out and everything else. I'm stuck in the house. So forget the 2020 goals. I'm moving on and wait until 2021. So that's the kind of mentality that like some people do get, especially with things going on that are out of the norm, which we can kind of talk about more when we get to what, why do you lack maybe in motivation? But I think this will kind of flow into our next one though, of how do we stay motivated? Right now, for people having to do home workouts, limit their trips to the grocery store, or maybe have limited resources because they can't get them at that time when they go to the grocery store, then they're having a hard time staying motivated. So first, talk to me in general about how do you stay motivated? How do you keep others motivated? And then we can kind of maybe hit on how we can help others stay motivated during this difficult time going on right now.
So how do I stay motivated? Okay, so I am one of those that, I don't know if this is old fashioned or it's just the way I do it. I like to journal things. I like to have it written down. So I do have this whole little journal that I keep track of like what are my goals. So then I kind of remind myself, why am I doing this again? Yeah. So then on those things that I write, yes, I have mini goals, like, okay, so this week, I'm gonna complete the workouts. Like, you know, I'm doing your guys' workouts. Okay, so this week, I'm gonna drink more water. So I kind of keep myself accountable with my own self checklist, kind of. I also try to put on those, you know, on that paper or on that journal, because I do it daily. So that's another thing. I try to do it every day when I wake up or at night. So what is my goal of the day? What is my goal of the week? What is my goal of the month? It can be fitness related, like, you know, I was gonna run a 5K, but, you know, I'm gonna run a 5K. So, you know, I break it down by week, whether it is the water, whether I want to look more toned, whether I want to look, depending what is the physical goal. And then also remember why I'm doing this, you know, to stay healthy, to lead by example. So things like that help me personally.
I think that's great. That's something not on the board and something I didn't really think about, that, but I do also, is journal. So when I first really got into fitness about 11, 12 years ago, then my coach at the time told me to start a journal. And I have been journaling since then, and I'm very, would like to say, pretty consistent with doing a journal. And now I kind of on Sunday nights go ahead and plan out my week, make it like a schedule. And a good friend who happens to be videoing said to kind of look at that like it's an appointment with yourself.
That's amazing.
And then that way you don't have, you're giving yourself no excuse, because it's an appointment that you've made with yourself.
That's amazing. You know, we tend to show up for so many things, but how many times we show up for ourselves? You know, you show up for that 9 to 5. You show up to the event that you have with your, you know, with your baby, with your family. If there's a birthday party, you show up there.
Right.
So I think it's always very important to remember, like, you know, who's going to show up for me? I have to show up for myself. I show up for so many other things.
Right. And you know, that kind of goes to some things on the board that you want accountability. So you think of a trainer, a coach, or maybe I should join a group and be in a class because I want accountability, and that's going to help me stay motivated. But at the end of the day, you're the person that you have to report back to. So it's good to basically learn to hold yourself accountable, because what if all that goes away, which is what we're dealing with now. You know, we are doing Zoom and things like that to try to hold people accountable. We have a group message which blows up at nighttime because everybody's posting everything. It's awesome. And that keeps people going. But what if we didn't have technology and we didn't have that? Would all of those people still be doing what they're doing? You would have a select percentage that would, but you would have some, I feel like, that would give up, unfortunately, because they're used to somebody else. So I think the biggest thing that I like to instill in people is how to self-motivate and how to hold yourself accountable. You know, the saying, if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. And so as a parent, sometimes that's true. Well, if mom's not working out some and she's not relieving, you know, some stress that she might be experiencing through work or just life in general, then that does affect the whole family. And that's not just for mama, but that's for daddy, or just a spouse, or, you know, a child with their parents. We coach a lot of high school and college kids, and that's the same for them. They need that relief from stress to, you know, not just physical. We talked about you start for physical, but mentally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the benefits.
Yes. So staying motivated. How do you get people in your groups to, so you're good, like, get them started, they're all gung-ho, they're ready to go. How do you keep them motivated?
So we have a community Facebook group, and we have one in Telegram. That was one of the reasons I joined Herbalife. I actually got great results physically through being a client, and one thing led to the other, and I became a coach. But I like the community that I offer and that I was offered. So basically, it's a Facebook group where we're not only posting your nutrition and nutrition ideas and snack ideas and supplement ideas, we're also posting different types of workouts. Not so elaborated, but just some tips of just get moving kind of thing. We have water challenges inside of that community. We also have empowerment quotes and different things that are positive into your life. So people tend to post their meals. So obviously when they post their meals, I can like take a look and be like, okay, like, you know, we need more fiber. Where's the veggies? Or so, you know, we kind of help each other that way. But they post their meals. Sometimes they post their workouts. So I think community is everything. When you're surrounded by like-minded people, it kind of brings a different energy.
Yeah.
And then, not only that, but, it motivates you to continue. People are experiencing the same things that you are. I'm a coach, yes, but I'm also human. There's going to be, days that I'm going to want to eat the whole bag of chips. So, I think when not only like-minded people, but we're all going through the same journey. We're all here for the same reason, which is, we want to be healthy, we want to have energy, we want to feel good. So I think having, nowadays, obviously with Facebook, it helps us with because I have people from different areas, not only like Troy where we're at.
Right.
So that helps us, and that has helped me, and we all really participate.
Right.
So for me, the big one is, how do I keep my clients motivated through rough seasons and everything, including now, it's actually our group.
And I really think that's important that you said community. Our last show, when I had Jessica Phillips here, we talked about community in relationship to fear. But community can be in relationship to so many different things. So as today, we're seeing that it has a relationship with motivation. And that community, and I actually just posted this yesterday, is our gym is not the building. Our gym is the people. So the gym technically is our community. And we help each other out, and we are like-minded people. And I love to say that sometimes people you even meet in the fitness world are people that you would not have met otherwise. And so it's amazing when you come together and you say, gosh, I would have never met you otherwise, but I love that you're so different, and here we are because we are like-minded still. So I think that's awesome to say that. And you mentioned but they're reading things to keep themselves motivated. Podcasts is another thing that I've noticed people like to listen to, and that was one reason I wanted to do the show today, is so people could hear, just between somebody that's a nutrition coach and then somebody that's a fitness coach, how we kind of inspire people or try to inspire or teach motivation to people. So I think that's important. One thing, and this goes on to the next question, is people lack motivation sometimes. Like you said, they start out and they have these goals in mind, and then all of a sudden after 2 weeks or after a month, then they've lost the motivation. 3 things that people commented on, they said they were overwhelmed with life. They were stressed, and then once they got overwhelmed or stressed, they went into hibernation mode where they just don't want to leave the house, almost like they have a built-up of anxiety. So if you've ever, and this is touchy, so just respond how you want to, but if you've ever lost motivation, how did you come back from that to get re-motivated?
I've had. I think in my case, the most recent one that I can remember was actually fall. And it was dark and it was kind of cold. I'm from Puerto Rico. We're like 90, 100. So I know the fall here may not be fall like up north fall, but it's still fall here is the winter for me, okay? So it was cold. It got darker quicker. Rainy sometimes. So yeah, I've been through it, and I think going through it has I've learned that if I'm going through it, imagine my clients. I've been in the fitness and nutrition world for almost 5-6 years. So if I go through it, someone else has to go through it. So it helped me be more empathetic with people, not just like, okay, let's hug, and but understanding that we all go through seasons, and it's okay to give yourself some grace. Yeah. But now, like, what are we gonna do about it?
Right.
You said you were doing so kind of like going, like, switching back and forth. I like to know what got you started. So when these moments come, I can tell you, Lori, you said that you were doing this because you want to be the best mom and the best wife and the best leader.
Right.
So what's going on?
Okay.
So I try to know why are you doing this? So I build that relationship with people, so that way when these moments come, I can kind of talk to you from a personal level of like, what's going on? Like, you said you were doing this for this reason. What's happening? So my last case was, I got a little homesick. I'm not from here. It was cold. It was dark. My family was away. The holidays, November, Thanksgiving, Christmas, they were away from me. So, I went through the motions. So how I got out of it, okay, so I allowed myself a moment, you know, it's okay to give yourself a moment, you know, like breathe, understand what's actually going on, and being able to identify if it's something internal, external, what's happening. And then, so in my case, I decided to swap a little bit the environment. So I joined a different location when it came to working out. So swapping a little bit the environment worked for me to get me back on it, just to kind of see a little bit something different. Before then, I was doing some like gym workout, so I decided to do some yoga. So yeah, so I found a new location close to my job in Montgomery. They were doing yoga. I mean, I'm not a yogi. I love like weights, but I just wanted to do something different, change a little bit the atmosphere, work on my breathing, work on posture, work on slowing down my body and focusing more on my mind. So changing the environment helped, and then reestablishing goals. Okay, so it's okay, November, I'm not feeling too good. Okay, what are we gonna do? What's gonna change? What is the new goal? So then the new goals were just working on some stretching and working on different areas that I have not worked for a while. So that's what I did, and it worked.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I think you saying those relationships that you build with your clients is amazing, because then you can take them back to what was your original why? Why did you originally start? Now, I think the longer you're in something, the harder it kind of is to remember your why. And I'll just tell a personal story. And last year, about this time, I was really burned out because I was just working out twice a day. I still work out twice a day, but my intensity level was extremely high. And I knew that my body needed a break. And so I had to adjust my mindset for that. And that was hard to learn to slow down some. And with that, there was like a domino effect to some things. And then this year rolls around, and some of those effects I did not like. And so I was like, okay, you've got to get some fire back and get, you know, some higher intensity going. So I didn't really, you know what to do. So I talked to a really good friend on the phone one day, and he said to me to think of some goals, you know. And I was just like, okay, I don't really know a goal. I've been doing this for 11 years. What goal do I want right now? He told me to call him back in a week and let him know what my goal was. Well, that was in February, and I literally just called him back last week because I had not decided, and it took me that long to process it and think what I want to do. You know, I'm over 40 now. What is a goal? Well, for me, I finally just thought it's longevity. I just want to be healthy at this point. My days of competing, I'm not going to say are over. I might do that eventually, but used to, I would live, you know, for the next competition, or, you know, the next, no, people usually talk me into running. I don't ever plan that, but, you know, it was just like I was living for the next thing, like a Spartan or a CrossFit competition or a bike race. And then the occasional runs that they would talk
mindset
me into.
of always like preparing for
the next thing. And so it was hard to think, you don't have to prepare for the next thing. This is your life. Just, you know, live that out.
Right.
So once I kind of got that mindset and thought, you know, don't worry about beating yourself of where you were, you know, 7 years ago when I might have been at the top of my game or something, you know, just worry about doing the best you can do right now, but still better, because I say this a lot, better than yesterday. So I'm still trying to become better than yesterday, and that's not always physical. That's a lot of mental as well.
So showing up every day, and like every day you do the best you can.
Right.
And then tomorrow will come.
Right.
I feel the same.
Yeah. So I think everybody is going to experience lack of motivation, just like you said, even a coach, whether you're a nutritional coach or a fitness coach. We do definitely experience that because we are people as well. So that kind of brings us to our last question. Do you really need motivation? It says no on the board, but I'm going to say a yes and no. Because yes, you need it. But what I try to teach people is how to self-motivate. So just like we were talking about having self-accountability, I like people to learn how to motivate themselves instead of relying on another person.
Right.
Other people is great. Building those relationships is great. Having a community is fabulous, and I thrive off that, as many people do. But when it comes down, like we talked about it earlier, to it, we've got to teach ourselves discipline, consistency, focus. And one way that I do that is by coming up with a schedule and sticking to a routine. Like right now, as some of y'all know, I'm a teacher as well. And since we don't have school, then I was waiting till the governor said what we were doing for sure. And I was just kind of taking it as an extra break, just sleeping till 10, doing whatever. And then once they announced we weren't going back this year, I was like, I have 4 months. There's no way I can just keep doing this for 4 months. So I made out a schedule. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to wake up at this time. I'm going to do this. And I just try to stick to that schedule as best I can to make sure that I don't start lacking motivation.
Okay.
Because when you don't have that schedule for yourself, sometimes you just think you're going to wing it, and then you're winging it. Turns out where you just say, I'll do that tomorrow. Oh, I'll start Monday. Oh, next month looks good. Okay, 2021 looks good.
Right.
So, what do you feel about like people really needing motivation?
So when it comes to my clients, what I do is we work together on that first meal plan, because it's nutrition. So we lay it out completely, and I teach them why you need to do things. So I think educating people is so important, because if they don't know what they're doing, obviously then they're always going to depend on you, and then you got to be always on top of them, and then it becomes this weird pattern. So I like to teach them, why are we doing this? Just the basic things in nutrition, and then we kind of work around their schedule. So I kind of check on them on day 1, 3, 7, 14, and after that I kind of let them do their own thing, because if I taught you right and this is something that you want to do, then it should come from you. Okay, so if I teach you, okay, Sundays you're gonna go to the groceries and buy your food, so I think I'm always going to be around, obviously, and they always have my number to kind of text back and forth if they have questions. But if I taught them and they really want to do this for themselves, I think eventually they will create that discipline. And when they slack, or when things happen or life happens, we kind of go back and refocus. But I think it's all about them at the end. We as coaches, we want to do everything, but you can't do the workout for them. We cannot, I can't feed them and make sure that they're doing it. So I think our part is done when we teach them, and you have the schedule done. So I try to teach them, okay, every 3 hours you're gonna eat. So I think I pour my whole heart into my clients, making sure that they know what they're doing, and they know that I'm here for them, but I want to teach them how they can do it by themselves forever. This is like a life journey. This is not, once you reach your goals, you got to maintain them. So it's on you.
Right.
So I don't know.
I think that's great, because I think we try to teach that in the fitness world as well. We have what we call meet me at the whiteboard. And we have little quotes up there that we'll share, and we try to instill those morals and values into them when it comes to the fitness world. We also, going back to being role models, try to be role models for our clients as well. In fact, Coach Jess and I were talking earlier today, and she said literally we have worked out together in a tornado, in the snow, in the rain, a hailstorm, and now this. And she's right, but we do that, I guess, for ourselves, but not to be known as the crazy person who always works out no matter what, but as an example of, no matter what life is throwing at you, you can still show up for yourself every day. Show up for yourself. So that's what we try to instill in our athletes by teaching them and by example, really, because if we're not doing it, how can we expect them to do it?
Right.
So I think we've kind of covered everything, but do you want to add anything else about just motivation, or give everybody encouragement during this time to stay motivated?
Yes. I was like, oh, wait a second. I want to encourage you guys that if you haven't found, a location that you love, or a wellness coach that you love, or someone, or a gym, or whether it is a person, or whether it's a tiny group within a group, try to do that in this time. I promise you, it does make a big difference when you do have people around you, not only encouraging you, but motivating you, checking on you. It's a time of a lot of isolation. So not only your physical, but your mental health in these times. So I think there's a lot of different communities available. Troy is a small town, but there's so many options and so many people that are willing to help. So I would encourage you guys to do that. And if you're not in Troy, of course, find social media is amazing. Like if you use it the right way. So just try to plug in yourself into a community of people that are trying to become better, that are trying to stay healthy, that are trying to eat better and work out. It will make a big difference. Like this will pass, like this virus will pass. And I've been telling my clients, so how do you want to look and feel after this pass? Like just think about that for a second. And then, hopefully the answer is that you want to be healthy, because we all want to be able to not get the virus. If we get it, God willing, we don't. Like we're able to, move forward and be healthy afterwards. So like, who do you want to be after this whole mess passes? And remember that there is a lot of people willing to really help out.
And I think now is the perfect time for people to try things, because there's so many people offering free things. So if you say, I can't afford it, and that's an excuse or maybe a reality for you that you really can't, to join something, take advantage while it's free. For example, like I like my Peloton, and I know Peloton is doing a week free, it might even be a month, but I know it's a week for sure, free trial on their app. You don't have to have the bike. It's just the app that goes on your phone, and it has tons of different stuff. Not, like I said, not just the bike or the treadmill that you can do. And that's a great community that you can join worldwide, because you can chat through there, or you don't have to. And they have a leaderboard if you have that competitive edge to you that motivates you. So they have lots of different options as well. And no, I'm not a spokesperson for Peloton. I just like it.
Nike app has good options. I mean, and you don't really need a whole bunch of equipment, but your legs and, your shoes, and go for a little run.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I think, now's the perfect time for you guys to try something. Well, if you are stuck in home, our essentials, unfortunately, might not have that time right now. So for our essentials that are out there, we commend you. We thank you. We want to say the biggest thing for you right now is your mental health, because we know that you are working tirelessly to improve everything that is going on. And so you guys just stay strong, keep your chin up, and then we can help you afterwards get back on track and what you need. But right now, you just worry about sleep and eating and taking care of yourself best you can during this time. Is there anything you want to say, closing remarks?
We're good. Okay. Thank you so much.
So we will see you next week on Winning the Battle, and we'll let you know that topic then. See you later.